Greetings, friends. So the question is, how to find your teacher, how to find your school, and how to understand this is your teacher. This is the place where you need to study. Let's get back to reality right away and take a moment to truly understand that what is around you, including your surroundings, in other words, there are no illusions that you need to choose something, run somewhere, or do anything. You are exactly where you are supposed to be right now, in your place, currently, in the position you are in. From this position, if you are consciously aware in the right way, meaning you are truly aware of your own thoughts, actions, and emotions in a conscious and deliberate manner, then you understand them as they are, in a truly mindful and aware state. Unlike people who are not aware, where everything happens by itself and they have no control over themselves or what happens to them, everything just occurs in a way that is clear and precise. And are you already mindful? Have you already read Ouspensky's In Search of the Miraculous, the perfect book, Gurdjieff, about the path of self-development, about self-observation? You have probably already come across Carlos Castaneda, perhaps read some Osho, and maybe, undoubtedly, some of you have even heard or read parts of the Mahabharata. You already have some idea that Vivekananda spoke in great detail about the path of bhakti and elaborated further on the path of karma yoga. You already know something about kriyas, various yogic practices, and indeed, so to speak, asceticism, and more. There will be a link in the description to a list of literature that I recommend for starting self-development, which you can explore in detail for you. The books I read back in the day, which I found very beneficial, helped me, and they are what I recommend to you. And when you start to become obsessed with this idea, when you truly understand and internalize the concept that you are essentially a robot, just a human being who mechanically and repetitively performs a vast and almost uncountable number of actions every single day, it can be quite a profound realization. At first, I began to realize more and more that something significant and unexpected was actually happening to me, and it was almost as if I were merely observing it happening in my own life. The more I started to adopt this position, the more I began to understand that I don't have to respond to this reaction. I can choose not to react to these requests and attempts to provoke me. Yes, of course, if you definitely want to accomplish some great heights in the social world, you will ultimately and inevitably have to return to reacting, to playing this social game again. At first, you will need to let go. Initially, you will need to overcome your own stereotypes and the mechanisms you are accustomed to thinking and operating with, such as and. That is, you need to step out of your comfort zone, out of the little world created by your own mind, where everything is right, everything is under control, and everything is accounted for. And once you start looking around consciously and paying close attention to your surroundings, the first thing you will notice is that there are people who have already taken several more steps in this direction than you have. These individuals serve as examples and sources of inspiration for you to follow. These could be people in your city or even in your neighborhood. When you become genuinely interested, they naturally start to appear around you. You start contemplating on it deeply. You start talking about it somewhere. You somehow begin to resonate in some way with certain vibrations with these people, and then eventually come across someone who can give you more than what you have currently, and there is no other way but learning. The idea that you can somehow self-teach and create a diamond out of nothing, from scratch, it's a really cool and fascinating idea. But, as I said, indeed, let's continue on to any other science, which might be easier, whether it's an exact science or something less precise like psychology or philosophy. Anything at all, indeed, mathematics, geometry, that is anything, any direction. It doesn't come out of nowhere. that means someone has already taken a few steps in this direction. And essentially, on these basic principles, on these foundations, stands the next stage of the development of this science, followed by the next, and then the next, physics and more. If you want to argue with the fundamental principles, well, propose your own theory. How do you think the universe is structured? Or the numbers, they go up to 16 instead of 10, or up to 12, and you believe that this is a complete cycle, and because of this, because of this. So try to make some kind of proposal to the academic community so that you are listened to adequately. That is, there is some sense in this theory, for example. Even if it seems to make no sense to them, you have taken the next few steps and already demonstrated it works. Yes, even better than what you have there. I would say that it's not exactly impossible, but people like Pythagoras, or those who truly discovered some fundamental laws, are 1 in a billion, probably very few. The chance that you are that person is incredibly small. Therefore, reaching integrals, derivatives, matrices, and operations with these matrices in higher mathematics without knowing the basics, without knowing simple things, algebra, and some elementary formulas, you will never come up with any artificial intelligence if you do not know the fundamental principles, concepts, ideas, and notions. The same applies to self-development, such as personal growth, mental well-being, and so on. Well, you simply can't do something like that, without teachers or instructors. I mean, in essence, a teacher is everything. They are the person who explains and shows you the way and guide you. Compare it, I say again, with higher mathematics. Come to this without teachers, without books, without any information. The numbers themselves, in fact, were made up out of nowhere, and all the formulas were actually written by themselves. In reality, indeed. It's like a separate language that people can indeed essentially speak and understand each other. Mathematics. And from the perspective of energy, from the perspective of what a person can do with their field structure, in terms of capabilities and potential, it is roughly the same. From the perspective of what a person can do with their mind, their emotions, their breath, and their attention, if no one shows and tells you how to do it, you will never learn it on your own. Never. It's simply impossible, at all, in any way. Therefore, depending on your level of development and awareness through various books, websites, portals, or perhaps you have already been part of some groups, attended sessions, and meditated. Somehow understanding that there are guys who are going off the deep end, and these ones are kind of reasonable, right? And those ones are like this, and those ones are like that. That is, through their method of trial and error, through their method of great effort. Yes, by accepting information, people gradually come to what they are more internally oriented towards. Some people really get into healing. For example, I was very curious indeed why I fell apart at 26, why I was breaking down, and what to do to avoid dying, because both my kidneys and liver were failing. And there, everything, my head is splitting, everything is humming. It's impossible, it hurts, it hurts. No matter how you turn, it hurts. It's painful, bad, hard. What's the matter? I just wanted to live. That's all. It turned out sometime I already knew something, and then I knew a lot, and then it became easier for me, and then even easier. Then, after 20 years of my professional practices, over the course of time, I found myself in a very interesting position, and my social life started to improve, and there were more children, and everything started to spin from a different angle. That is, it turns out, have strength, have opportunities, many interesting techniques and various effective practices that help me not only put myself in order, but also help bring order to the minds of others in my life. I believe this is indeed a very important point, an extremely interesting and truly unique experience. And I wish each of you to reach the moment where you can not only tune and restore yourself, but also adjust yourself as needed, regardless of what is happening around. The world is going crazy. If you get involved in this, if you stew in it, in this stress, in these experiences and vibrations, of course, anyone will undoubtedly and definitely start to have headaches, heartaches, and something else. Yes, because this is stress, this is panic, anxiety, this is an abnormal existence. And if you can, while being in these processes, still bring yourself into harmony and balance, well, that's an achievement. That's an A for you, right? And for everyone, essentially, it's all the same. Exploring your personal questions about your feelings and aspirations, your relationship questions involving dynamics with others, and your social questions regarding your role in society. Everyone is involved in this in one way or another. Every single person is engaged in some kind of mom, dad, family matters, children. And if a person doesn't really know how to disconnect in their daily life, how to return home to themselves and feel at peace, and truly and genuinely, so that the head doesn't ache, the heart doesn't pound, there's no panic, no worries, even if there is a reason for these worries. If you can achieve balance and harmony within, you will be 10 times more effective. You are 20 times more mindful, sober, and can make one correct, precise move that will be worth its weight in gold in this situation, in this moment. Because a person in panic will make 1,000 movements, and they will be of no use. On the contrary, what position do you want to be in? If you want to struggle and flounder, stumble and confuse yourself, to do things you will often later regret and repent, and then do them again, and then regret and do them again, this is a normal position, and 90% of people frequently live in it. Either you really take yourself seriously and genuinely and truly start working dedicatedly on yourself. I'm not telling you to learn from me, not the only school. Yes, learn anywhere, just learn. Learn to learn by exploring new methods. Learn to feel the space around you and understand your own body. Awareness of these elements is crucial. Learn to meditate, fast, stand on nails, and I don't know, maybe Vipassana, definitely something else. Then understand that yes, for the experience it was great, but it is also stressful shock therapy. Harmony is not there, not on the nails. Harmony is not in fasting. Harmony is not in asceticism. On the contrary, it is in real life. But with certain practice, with certain skill, just as a turtle withdraws everything it has inside itself, so should you hide your emotions, feelings, and energy within yourself. You can't just go around giving this love to everyone. It won't work. I really love Osho, but he was wrong about this. You won't uncover any source there. Try it, gain your own experience. I was certainly indeed a true Osho neo-sannyasin. My name with you is known everywhere as Dhyan Bodhisattva. I led various Osho groups, such as Tantra and other activities, including meditation sessions. I know very well what it means to give love to everyone always, and I have been doing it for more than 10 years. Naked and poor, needed by no one. Friends, it was a wonderful experience. But the real practice began when the understanding came that valuable energy cannot be abundant. It is valuable. It's like money. They are indeed very valuable. And if you want to have more of them, you must follow the principle of preserving and multiplying. If you can save and multiply, then somewhere in the near future, you will eventually be able to spend. And here too, If you can harness the incredible and transformative potential of this fourth chakra, you can open it up a bit more and share immense love and deep compassion with your children, your parents, your colleagues, or even somehow broadcast it widely on the internet and do something truly meaningful and impactful with it. If you scatter the resources everywhere and at all times without any consideration, the original source will eventually be depleted. It is very necessary to clearly check how much energy is coming into the system and what its quality is. Because using simple mathematical formulas, if there is less somewhere, there must be more somewhere else. Nothing comes from nothing. So the fourth chakra is a complex chakra. For the energy to reach there, it must pass through the first, second, and third chakras. And this is the entire social layer. This is life force, this is relationships, this is money, this is power, this is strength. And only by gaining this, stepping over it and letting go of it, will you be able to truly uncover knowledge so that something resonates and truly works. And if you haven't indeed achieved relationships in your life, if you haven't truly realized your own business or manifested some kind of power, what is there for you to give up? You have nothing. You cannot go another way. You won't be able to move differently. Even if I tell you, and you know it would be right to move like this, it won't make sense. You must embark on a personal journey to discover and understand your inner core. You must find your own unique and meaningful path. You need to deeply and truly understand for yourself what truly gives you clarity, consciousness, quality of consciousness, inner peace, balance, equilibrium, harmony, and what, on the contrary, significantly destabilizes you. And can you perhaps return to your proper inner state after this destabilization process? Do you even have it indeed? The proper inner state. Is there any standard or criterion for this correct state? After all, everyone strives indeed for happiness when you're completely overwhelmed. That's far from harmony. That's already an imbalance. That's already emotional swings. And that's happiness that will inevitably swing back in the opposite direction like a pendulum. And if someone supposedly found such happiness that never ends, and it gushes out in all directions through them, in an incomprehensible way, check if all other areas of this person's life and activities are properly structured, including their daily routines, work habits, social interactions, and personal responsibilities. And what about family? And what about business and finances? And what about health? These are essentially basic mechanisms. If a person is truly falling apart, how can there be love if the body is indeed literally breaking down? What harmony? Indeed, pathological conditions have thrown the system into a severe, extreme, and significant imbalance. A person might indeed be experiencing some sensations, possibly even pleasant ones, but the whole system is in shock. In severe shock, the body falls apart, and also primarily the adrenal glands. Well, then we know that cancer cells, which are abnormal and grow uncontrollably, start to activate and multiply quickly in stressful environments, such as physical or emotional stress. And what's the point of a happiness where you really fall apart in a few years and just truly leave this life? I think that, first and foremost, one of the earliest and most accurate indicators of a person's harmony and balance in their everyday lives and activities is their overall mental and physical health and wellness. Next are his relationships with his parents, his relatives, his friends, and within the family, with his children and his wife, which are all very important to him and play a significant role in his life. And then comes business and finances, and then the social plan, and then the economic strategy. If this earthly life lacks real harmony and balance, lacks a clear, fundamental, solid foundation, what kind of spiritual growth can we even talk about? What kind of response can we talk about? People don't even have this vital organ. Those who haven't built a strong and solid foundation in any way have nothing to respond to at all. Nothing comes there at all. Therefore, your search will inevitably lead you only to the option that is near you, that is around you. You will start doing something and slowly move forward. As Buddha said in response to some strange questions he was asked, like how and what, he said, just keep moving. Keep moving. Just keep moving. In the end, you will become more and more aware, more and more understanding of how much you really control your mind, how much you are really aware, how much you really control your emotions. Building on this, you will be able to construct everything else. But for now, you can't control anything, you can't build anything, you are just part of a series of events that just happened to you. That's all. You live within the framework of large numbers that count you. But you cannot control them. You cannot control your destiny in any way, shape, or form at all. And a person who has truly achieved some significant and noteworthy spiritual merits is someone who remains consistently sober and fully aware, who stays continuously conscious and can effectively manage the various events happening around them, and can skillfully control their basic health mechanisms and bodily functions. Balance, inner harmony. Therefore, saying that you should go this way and not that way, that these practices are good and those are bad, would be absolutely wrong. In order to achieve a state of inner peace and tranquility, do everything you can to move forward in every way you can imagine, with all possible strength, all possible practices, and every method you know, as efficiently and effectively as you can. As Castaneda wisely said, with strong intention and determination, a war is waged, set forward to fight one's own inner madness, to combat one's own deep-seated ignorance. Track down your ignorance, your dullness, and limitations, set traps for them, catch them, and take a closer look at them with a sober mind, and perhaps misconceptions, and maybe even your biases. Let it gently and softly exhale and scatter light and love, friends.